Question 1. A project manager is leading a software development project using an Agile approach. The team has just completed a sprint, and the product owner is reviewing the increment. Which of the following is the primary purpose of this review meeting? A. To identify lessons learned and improve the team's process for future sprints. B. To discuss potential risks and develop mitigation strategies for the upcoming sprint. C. To demonstrate the completed work to stakeholders and gather feedback on the increment. D. To re-estimate remaining backlog items and finalize the sprint backlog for the next iteration. Answer: C. To demonstrate the completed work to stakeholders and gather feedback on the increment. The primary purpose of a sprint review, in an Agile project, is to inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog as needed, which involves demonstrating the completed work to stakeholders and gathering their valuable feedback. This meeting ensures that the team is building the right product by confirming that the delivered features align with expectations and by incorporating any new insights to refine future development. For instance, if the team built a login screen, the review allows users to try it and suggest improvements or new requirements directly. Always remember that stakeholder collaboration and feedback are crucial for delivering value in Agile environments, helping to steer the product in the right direction. Question 2. During the execution of a project manager identifies a significant discrepancy between the actual work performance and the planned baseline. What is the immediate next step the project manager should take? A. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor for a decision. B. Update the project management plan to reflect the new reality. C. Analyze the variances to determine their root causes and potential impacts. D. Inform all project stakeholders about the delay and budget overrun. Answer: C. Analyze the variances to determine their root causes and potential impacts. When a significant discrepancy between actual and planned performance is identified, the immediate next step is to analyze the variances, not just react to them. This involves investigating the root causes of the deviation to understand why performance is off track and assessing the potential impact on project objectives like scope, schedule, and cost. For example, if a task is taking longer than expected, the project manager needs to determine if it's due to resource issues, unforeseen complexity, or faulty estimates before deciding on corrective actions. By understanding the why and what if, you can make informed decisions to bring the project back on course or adjust plans effectively. Question 3. A project team is experiencing persistent conflicts and misunderstandings due to cultural differences and varying communication styles. As the project manager, what is the most effective approach to improve team communication and collaboration? A. Implement stricter reporting requirements and standardized communication templates. B. Arrange a team-building event to foster personal relationships outside of work. C. Provide training on cross-cultural communication and actively facilitate open dialogue. D. Assign a dedicated communications manager to filter and relay all team messages. Answer: C. Provide training on cross-cultural communication and actively facilitate open dialogue. To address persistent conflicts stemming from cultural differences and communication styles, the most effective approach is to directly tackle the root cause by providing training on cross-cultural communication and actively facilitating open dialogue. This helps team members understand and appreciate diverse perspectives, learn effective communication techniques, and build empathy, thereby improving mutual understanding and collaboration. For example, a workshop on active listening and nonverbal cues can significantly reduce misunderstandings. Remember, proactive education and facilitation are key to transforming potential obstacles into strengths within a diverse team. Question 4. A project manager is calculating the earned value, EV, for a project. The project has a budget at completion, BAC, of $100,000. It is 50% complete according to the work performed and measured against the baseline. What is the earned value, EV, for this project? A. $200,000. B. $50,000. C. $100,000. D. $0. Answer, B. $50,000. Earned value, EV, represents the value of the work actually performed and authorized budget for that work. To calculate EV, you multiply the total project budget at completion, BAC, by the percentage of work physically completed. In this scenario, with a BAC of $100,000 and 50% of the work completed, the earned value is $100,000 asterisk 0.50, which equals $50,000. This metric is crucial for assessing project progress objectively, showing the value generated relative to the budget spent. Always remember that EV measures what you've earned for the work done, not what you've spent or plan to spend. Question 5. In an Agile project, the team discovers during a sprint that a critical user story cannot be completed due to an unforeseen technical dependency on an external vendor. What should be the team's first action? A. Immediately escalate the issue to the project sponsor for intervention. B. Reprioritize the product backlog and remove the user story from the current sprint. C. Inform the product owner and collaborate on potential solutions or adjustments to the sprint goal. D. Pause the current sprint and wait for the vendor to resolve the dependency. Answer, C. Inform the product owner and collaborate on potential solutions or adjustments to the sprint goal. When an unforeseen technical dependency jeopardizes a user story in an Agile sprint, the team's first action should be to immediately inform the product owner and collaborate with them on potential solutions or adjustments to the sprint goal. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product and making decisions about the product backlog, so their involvement is crucial for navigating such impediments. For instance, they might decide to swap the story with another, reduce its scope, or even cancel the sprint if the dependency is truly critical. Remember, transparency and collaboration with the product owner are key to adapting effectively in Agile environments. Question 6. A project manager is facing a situation where key stakeholders have conflicting priorities regarding project deliverables. Which of the following strategies is most effective for resolving these conflicts and aligning expectations? A. Implement a strict change control process, allowing only approved changes. B. Prioritize stakeholders based on their power and influence, then focus on their needs. C. Facilitate discussions to understand underlying interests and find common ground or compromise. D. Document all stakeholder requests and address them sequentially as resources allow. Answer, C. Facilitate discussions to understand underlying interests and find common ground or compromise. When stakeholders have conflicting priorities, the most effective strategy is to facilitate discussions to understand their underlying interests and find common ground or compromise. Simply identifying power dynamics or sequential addressing requests won't resolve the core conflict. By uncovering the why behind their priorities, the project manager can help stakeholders see the broader picture and work towards a solution that provides the most overall project value, even if it means some individual concessions. For example, if two stakeholders both want the highest quality, but one values speed more and the other cost, understanding these underlying drivers can lead to a hybrid solution. Always aim to harmonize differing views through open communication and negotiation. Question 7. A project manager is reviewing the project management plan and notices that the quality management plan specifies a certain level of defect tolerance for deliverables. This refers to which aspect of quality management? A. Quality assurance. B. Quality control. C. Quality metrics. D. Quality standards. Answer, D. Quality standards. The defect tolerance specified in the quality management plan refers to quality standards, which are criteria or guidelines that define acceptable levels of quality for products, services, or processes. These standards serve as benchmarks against which actual project performance is measured, ensuring that deliverables meet the required level of excellence. For instance, a standard might state that no more than 1% of code lines can have critical bugs. While quality control monitors compliance with these standards and quality assurance ensures the process is effective, the specific tolerance itself is a standard. It's essential to define these standards early to set clear expectations for what good looks like in the project. Question 8. In a predictive project, the project manager has just completed the process of obtaining bids, proposals, or quotations from prospective sellers. What is the immediate next step in the project procurement management process? A. Plan procurement management. B. Conduct procurements. C. Control procurements. D. Close procurements. Answer: B. Conduct procurements. After obtaining bids, proposals, or quotations from prospective sellers, the immediate next step in project procurement management is to conduct procurements. This process involves evaluating those offers, selecting a seller, and awarding a contract. The preceding step, plan procurement management, establishes the strategy, and the subsequent steps, control procurements and close procurements, occur after the contract is awarded and during its execution and completion, respectively. For instance, after receiving proposals for new server hardware, the team would then evaluate each vendor's offer based on predefined criteria, negotiate, and ultimately choose the best supplier. Remember, conduct is where the actual selection and contracting happen. Question 9. A project manager is utilizing a Kanban board for an Agile project. What is the primary purpose of limiting the work in process, WIP, on a Kanban board? A. To prevent scope creep and ensure adherence to the original project plan. B. To reduce multitasking, improve focus, and accelerate the flow of work through the system. C. To allocate resources evenly across all tasks and minimize idle time. D. To accurately forecast project completion dates and track individual team member performance. Answer: B. To reduce multitasking, improve focus, and accelerate the flow of work through the system. The primary purpose of limiting work in process, WIP, on a Kanban board is to reduce multitasking, improve focus, and accelerate the flow of work through the system. By restricting the number of tasks in progress at any given time, teams are encouraged to complete existing work before starting new tasks, thereby minimizing context switching and bottlenecks. For example, if a team member can only have one in-progress task, they are less likely to get bogged down with multiple half-finished items. This discipline helps achieve a smoother, more efficient workflow and often leads to faster delivery of value. Question 10. Which of the following PMP performance domains focuses on establishing and maintaining the relationships necessary for successful project outcomes? A. Planning performance domain. B. Team performance domain. C. Delivery performance domain. D. Stakeholder performance domain. Answer: D. Stakeholder performance domain. The stakeholder performance domain specifically focuses on activities and functions associated with establishing and maintaining the relationships necessary for successful project outcomes. This domain emphasizes effectively engaging with all individuals, groups, or organizations that can affect or be affected by the project. For instance, regularly communicating with users, suppliers, and senior management ensures their needs are understood and managed. Ultimately, managing stakeholders well is crucial for gaining support, minimizing resistance, and ensuring the project delivers value that meets their expectations. Question 11. During a project's execution phase, a risk event with a high impact and high probability occurs. The project team had identified this risk and planned a mitigation strategy. What is the most appropriate immediate response by the project manager? A. Execute the planned risk response strategy. B. Inform the project sponsor and key stakeholders about the occurrence. C. Update the risk register with the actual impact and probability. D. Initiate a change request to modify the project baseline. Answer: A. Execute the planned risk response strategy. When a previously identified risk with a high impact and high probability occurs, the most appropriate immediate response is to execute the planned risk response strategy. The purpose of identifying and planning for risks in advance is to have a predefined course of action ready to minimize negative impacts. For example, if a critical software component fails and a backup plan was established, the team should immediately deploy the backup. While informing stakeholders and updating records are important follow-up actions, the priority is to act swiftly to contain the issue according to the proactive plan. Question 12. A project manager is leading a predictive project and needs to determine if the project is ahead or behind schedule. Which earned value management (EVM) metric would provide this information? A. Cost variance (CV). B. Schedule variance (SV). C. Cost Performance Index, CPI. D. Schedule Performance Index, SPI. Answer: B. Schedule Variance, SV. To determine if a predictive project is ahead or behind schedule, the schedule variance, SV, is the EVM metric that directly provides this information. SV is calculated as earned value, EV, minus planned value, PV, where a positive SV indicates the project is ahead of schedule, and a negative SV means it is behind schedule. For instance, if the planned value for a task was $10,000 but the earned value is only 8,000 minus 8,000, the SVOF minus 2,000 immediately tells you the project is behind. This metric offers a monetary representation of schedule performance, making it a critical tool for project control. Question 13. A newly formed Agile team is struggling with self-organization and frequently waits for direction from the project manager. What action should the project manager, acting as a servant leader, take to foster greater team autonomy? A. Assign specific tasks to each team member to ensure accountability. B. Increase daily stand-up meeting frequency to provide more explicit instructions. C. Coach the team on Agile principles, empower them to make decisions, and remove impediments. D. Take over decision-making for critical issues to avoid further delays. Answer: C. Coach the team on Agile principles, empower them to make decisions, and remove impediments. To foster greater team autonomy and encourage self-organization in an Agile team, the project manager, acting as a servant leader, should coach the team on Agile principles, empower them to make decisions, and actively remove impediments. A servant leader focuses on supporting the team's growth and effectiveness rather than dictating tasks. For example, instead of telling the team how to solve a technical problem, the project manager might ask guiding questions or connect them with an expert. Empowering the team to own their solutions and removing obstacles allows them to develop their self-organizing capabilities over time. Question 14. A key stakeholder frequently requests minor changes to completed deliverables, impacting the project schedule and budget, despite these changes not being critical. What is the best approach for the project manager to manage this situation in a predictive environment? A. Refuse all further change requests to protect the project baseline. B. Implement a formal change control process and educate the stakeholder on its importance. C. Accommodate the changes to maintain good stakeholder relationships. D. Escalate the stakeholder's behavior to the project sponsor for resolution. Answer: B. Implement a formal change control process and educate the stakeholder on its importance. When a key stakeholder frequently requests minor, non-critical changes that impact the project baseline in a predictive environment, the best approach is to implement a formal change control process and educate the stakeholder on its importance. This process provides a structured way to evaluate, approve, or reject changes, ensuring that all impacts on scope, schedule, and cost are properly assessed before any work is done. For instance, clearly explaining how a small change in one area can cascade and delay other parts of the project helps the stakeholder understand the implications. This approach manages expectations, protects the project baseline, and maintains stakeholder relationships by providing a clear framework for change. Question 15. The concept of failing fast is often encouraged in Agile projects. What is the primary benefit of failing fast? A. To quickly identify blame for project shortcomings. B. To minimize the overall project budget by stopping work early. C. To learn from mistakes rapidly and adapt solutions before significant investment. D. To meet sprint deadlines by delivering incomplete features. Answer: C. To learn from mistakes rapidly and adapt solutions before significant investment. The primary benefit of failing fast in Agile projects is to learn from mistakes rapidly and adapt solutions before significant investment has been made. This approach encourages experimentation and early validation, meaning that if an idea or feature isn't working, it's discovered quickly, allowing the team to pivot or refine their approach with minimal wasted effort. For example, releasing a minimum viable product, MVP, early allows for quick feedback, revealing what works and what doesn't before building out the full solution. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity is central to iterative development and helps steer the project towards truly valuable outcomes efficiently. Question 16. A project manager is performing the control quality process. Which of the following is an output of this process? A. Quality management plan. B. Quality metrics. C. Verified deliverables. D. Quality audits. Answer: C. Verified deliverables. Verified deliverables are a key output of the control quality process. This process involves monitoring specific project results to determine whether they comply with relevant quality standards and identifying ways to eliminate causes of unsatisfactory performance. When a deliverable has been inspected and confirmed to meet the specified quality requirements, it becomes a verified deliverable, ready for formal acceptance. For example, after testing a software module and confirming it passes all quality checks, it is then a verified deliverable. The quality management plan guides this process, and quality metrics are used during it, but the tangible outcome is a validated piece of work. Question 17. Which of the following PMBOK 7th edition performance domains addresses the activities associated with creating a shared understanding of what to produce, what to deliver, and how to deliver it? A. Team performance domain. B. Planning performance domain. C. Development approach and life cycle performance domain. D. Delivery performance domain. Answer: B. Planning performance domain. The planning performance domain addresses the activities associated with creating a shared understanding of what to produce, what to deliver, and how to deliver it. This domain involves defining the project's scope, objectives, requirements, and developing a comprehensive plan that guides the team's work and aligns stakeholder expectations. For instance, collaboratively defining user stories and acceptance criteria contributes to this shared understanding. Effective planning sets the stage for successful execution by ensuring everyone is on the same page regarding the project's direction and expected outcomes. Question 18. A project manager observes that a project's Cost Performance Index, CPI, is 0.85 and the Schedule Performance Index, SPI, is 0.90. What do these values indicate about the project's current status? A. The project is under budget and ahead of schedule. B. The project is over budget and behind schedule. C. The project is under budget and behind schedule. D. The project is over budget and ahead of schedule. Answer: B. The project is over budget and behind schedule. A Cost Performance Index, CPI, of 0.85 indicates that the project is over budget, as any CPI less than 1.0 means that the cost incurred to date is greater than the value of the work performed. Similarly, a Schedule Performance Index, SPI, of 0.90 indicates the project is behind schedule, as any SPI less than 1.0 means that less work has been completed than planned for the time elapsed. For example, A CPI of 0.85 means for every dollar spent, only 85 cents of value has been earned. Always remember that both CPI and SPI values below 1.0 are indicators of poor performance relative to the baseline. Question 19. In an organization transitioning to Agile, a project manager is struggling to get functional managers to release their team members to work full-time on an Agile project. What is this challenge primarily related to? A. Resource leveling. B. Organizational change management. C. Risk management. D. Scope management. Answer: B. Organizational change management. This challenge is primarily related to organizational change management, as transitioning to Agile often requires significant shifts in organizational structure, culture, and power dynamics, including how resources are allocated and managed. Functional managers are accustomed to traditional reporting structures and may resist releasing their staff to dedicated, cross-functional Agile teams. For instance, they might be concerned about losing control over their resources or about how their departmental objectives will still be met. Effectively addressing this requires clear communication, leadership support, and a structured approach to guiding the organization through the Agile transformation, addressing concerns and demonstrating benefits. Question 20. A project manager is trying to forecast the most likely completion date for a task, considering optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely estimates. Which estimation technique are they using? A. Analogous estimating. B. Parametric estimating. C. Three-point estimating. D. Bottom-up estimating. Answer: C. Three-point estimating. When a project manager considers optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely estimates to forecast a task's completion date, they are using three-point estimating. This technique helps account for uncertainty by providing a range of possible outcomes rather than a single-point estimate. It often uses formulas like the PERT formula, optimistic plus 4 asterisk most likely plus pessimistic, /6 to calculate a weighted average, offering a more realistic estimate. For example, if a task's optimistic estimate is 2 days, most likely is 4 days, and pessimistic is 12 days, three-point estimating provides a more robust forecast than just using the most likely scenario. This method gives a better understanding of potential variability and improves confidence in estimates. Question 21. A project manager finds that despite repeated attempts, a key stakeholder remains disengaged and shows little interest in the project. Which of the following is the best approach to try and re-engage this stakeholder? A. Remove the stakeholder from the communication plan to save effort. B. Increase the frequency of formal project reports to ensure they receive all information. C. Conduct a one-on-one meeting to understand their interests, concerns, and potential value to the project. D. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor for disciplinary action. Answer: C. Conduct a one-on-one meeting to understand their interests, concerns, and potential value to the project. When a key stakeholder is disengaged, the best approach is to conduct a one-on-one meeting to understand their interests, concerns, and potential value to the project. Directly engaging with them allows the project manager to uncover the root cause of their disengagement, which could range from lack of understanding of the project's relevance to their own priorities, or even past negative experiences. For example, they might not realize how the project directly benefits their department, or they might have an unresolved concern they haven't voiced. Personalized communication is often more effective than simply increasing formal reports, as it fosters trust and uncovers deeper motivations. Question 22. In an Agile context, what is the primary purpose of the product backlog? A. To serve as a comprehensive list of all project risks and their mitigation strategies. B. To document the detailed technical specifications for each feature. C. To provide an ordered, prioritized list of all the features, functions, requirements, and enhancements needed for the product. D. To track the project budget and allocate resources across different sprints. Answer: C. To provide an ordered, prioritized list of all the features, functions, requirements, and enhancements needed for the product. The primary purpose of the product backlog in an Agile context is to provide an ordered, prioritized list of all the features, functions, requirements, and enhancements needed for the product. It serves as the single source of truth for all work to be done on the product, constantly evolving as new information emerges or priorities change. For instance, user stories like, as a customer, I want to log in securely, would be listed and prioritized. This dynamic list ensures that the team is always working on the most valuable items first, guided by the product owner's vision. Question 23. A project manager is concerned about the potential for changes to the project scope and is establishing a process to manage these changes. Which document will be most critical for controlling the project scope baseline? A. Requirements documentation. B. Work breakdown structure, WBS. C. Change control system. D. Project charter. Answer: C. Change control system. For controlling the project scope baseline, the change control system is the most critical document or process. While the requirements documentation defines what needs to be built and the WBS decomposes the work, it's the change control system that provides the formal procedures for managing changes to any baseline, including scope. This system outlines how changes are requested, reviewed, approved, or rejected, ensuring that only necessary and agreed-upon modifications are incorporated. For example, if a stakeholder proposes adding a new feature, the change control system dictates the steps to evaluate its impact before it can alter the scope baseline. Question 24. Which of the following is a key characteristic of a matrix organizational structure from a project management perspective? A. Project managers have full authority over project resources. B. Team members report to both a functional manager and a project manager. C. Projects are typically isolated within functional departments. D. Resources are dedicated full-time to a single project. Answer: B. Team members report to both a functional manager and a project manager. A key characteristic of a matrix organizational structure, from a project management perspective, is that team members report to both a functional manager and a project manager. This dual reporting relationship allows for a blend of functional expertise and project focus, where resources are shared across different projects while still belonging to their functional departments. For example, a software developer might report to the head of development for their technical performance and to a project manager for their project-specific tasks. Understanding this dual accountability is crucial for effective communication and resource management in such environments. Question 25. The concept of value in project management, particularly in Agile, is best described as A. The total cost savings achieved by the project. B. The subjective perception of worth or usefulness of a product, service, or result as defined by the customer or stakeholders. C. The adherence to the initial budget and schedule baselines. D. The number of features delivered within a specific time frame. Answer: B. The subjective perception of worth or usefulness of a product, service, or result as defined by the customer or stakeholders. In project management, especially Agile, value is best described as the subjective perception of worth or usefulness of a product, service, or result as defined by the customer or stakeholders. It's not just about cost savings or number of features, but about delivering something that truly addresses a need, solves a problem, or brings a benefit from the perspective of those who will use or fund it. For instance, a new app feature might be highly valuable if it significantly improves user experience, even if it wasn't the cheapest to develop. Focusing on value ensures that the project delivers meaningful outcomes that align with user and business needs. Question 26. A project manager is performing quantitative risk analysis. Which of the following techniques would be most appropriate for simulating the combined effect of risks and other uncertainties on project outcomes? A. Decision tree analysis. B. Sensitivity analysis. C. Expected monetary value, EMV, analysis. D. Monte Carlo simulation. Answer: D. Monte Carlo simulation. When simulating the combined effect of risks and other uncertainties on project outcomes, Monte Carlo simulation is the most appropriate technique. This powerful analytical method runs numerous iterations of a project model, using probability distributions for uncertain variables, to generate a range of possible outcomes and their associated probabilities. For example, it can predict the likelihood of completing a project within a certain budget and schedule, considering multiple risk factors simultaneously. This provides a more comprehensive picture of potential outcomes than techniques that analyze risks in isolation. Question 27. Which of the following is not typically a responsibility of a Scrum Master? A. Facilitating Scrum events as requested or needed. B. Coaching the development team in self-organization and cross-functionality. C. Managing the product backlog and prioritizing its items. D. Removing impediments to the development team's progress. Answer: C. Managing the product backlog and prioritizing its items. Managing the product backlog and prioritizing its items is not typically a responsibility of a Scrum Master. This is primarily the role of the product owner. The Scrum Master acts as a servant leader, facilitator, and coach, focusing on ensuring the Scrum framework is understood and enacted, and removing impediments for the team. For instance, a Scrum Master would help resolve a technical roadblock, but they wouldn't decide which user story is most important to develop next. It's crucial to understand the distinct roles within the Scrum framework to avoid confusion and ensure effectiveness. Question 28. A project team is frequently missing deadlines due to underestimation of task durations. The project manager wants to improve future estimates by using historical data from similar previous projects. Which estimation technique is the project manager applying? A. Expert judgment. B. Analogous estimating. C. Bottom-up estimating. D. Three-point estimating. Answer: B. Analogous estimating. When a project manager improves future estimates by using historical data from similar previous projects, they are applying analogous estimating. This top-down technique relies on the actual cost or duration of a previous, similar project as the basis for estimating the current project, scaled up or down depending on known differences. For example, if a similar website development project took 6 months, an analogous estimate might be 7 months for a slightly larger scope. While it's generally less accurate than other methods, it's quick and useful when detailed information is scarce. Question 29. The process of defining, preparing, and coordinating all project baselines and incorporating them into the project management plan is known as what? A. Direct and manage project work. B. Monitor and control project work. C. Develop project management plan. D. Perform integrated change control. Answer: C. Develop project management plan. The process of defining, preparing, and coordinating all project baselines and incorporating them into the project management plan is known as develop project management plan. This is the overarching process where all subsidiary plans, like scope, schedule, cost, quality, etc., are integrated to create a comprehensive document that guides project execution and control. For instance, ensuring the scope baseline is aligned with the schedule and cost baselines happens here. This plan serves as the single source of truth for how the project will be managed and forms the foundation for future performance measurement. Question 30. A project team is working on a new product development using a hybrid approach. The project has well-defined overall requirements but highly uncertain technical solutions for specific components. Which combination of life cycles would be most suitable? A. Entirely predictive. B. Entirely agile. C. Predictive for the overall project, agile for specific component development. D. Iterative for the overall project, predictive for specific component development. Answer, C. Predictive for the overall project, Agile for specific component development. For a new product development project with well-defined overall requirements but uncertain technical solutions for specific components, a hybrid approach of predictive for the overall project and Agile for specific component development is most suitable. This allows for clear planning and sequencing of the overarching project structure, predictive, while enabling flexibility, experimentation, and rapid adaptation for the uncertain technical elements, Agile. For example, the overall project might have a fixed timeline and budget, but the engineering team could use sprints to develop and test a complex, innovative module. This blend optimizes both control and adaptability where needed. Question 31. Which of the following represents the total planned cost for the entire project work? A. Earned value, EV. B. Planned value, PV. C. Actual cost, AC. D. Budget at completion, BAC. Answer, D. Budget at completion, BAC. The budget at completion, BAC, represents the total planned cost for the entire project work. It is the sum of all budgets established for the work to be performed, essentially the total budget allocated to complete all defined project activities. For example, if all tasks and their associated costs sum up to $500,000, then the BAC is $500,000. While planned value, PV, is the authorized budget planned to be spent by a given point in time, and earned value, EV, is the value of work performed, BAC is the grand total planned budget for the whole project. Question 32. In the team performance domain, what is the primary goal of promoting cross-functional skills among team members? A. To reduce the overall project budget by minimizing specialized roles. B. To increase team resilience, flexibility, and ability to swarm on tasks, reducing bottlenecks. C. To ensure that every team member can perform every task on the project. D. To simplify resource allocation by making all team members interchangeable. Answer, B. To increase team resilience, flexibility, and ability to swarm on tasks, reducing bottlenecks. In the team performance domain, the primary goal of promoting cross-functional skills among team members is to increase team resilience, flexibility, and ability to swarm on tasks, thereby reducing bottlenecks. When team members have a broader range of skills, they can step in to assist with different types of work, preventing delays when one team member is unavailable or overloaded. For example, if a front-end developer also understands basic database queries, they can assist a back-end developer when needed. This collaborative approach ensures work continues to flow smoothly and improves the team's overall adaptability. Question 33. A project manager needs to perform an estimation using the actual costs of previous, similar work activity multiplied by a factor for the new work. What estimation technique is being utilized? A. Analogous estimating. B. Parametric estimating. C. Bottom-up estimating. D. Expert judgment. Answer, B. Parametric estimating. When a project manager uses the actual costs or durations of previous, similar work activity multiplied by a factor for the new work, they are utilizing parametric estimating. This technique uses a statistical relationship between historical data and other variables, parameters, to calculate an estimate. For example, if a wall costs $X per square foot, and the new wall is Y square feet, the estimate is X*Y. This method is generally more accurate than analogous estimating, especially when reliable historical data and established parameters are available. Question 34. During project execution, a team member identifies an issue that could potentially impact the project schedule. What should be their immediate action? A. Resolve the issue independently to avoid bothering the project manager. B. Update the risk register with the new issue. C. Communicate the issue to the project manager and affected team members or stakeholders. D. Ignore the issue if it seems minor and might resolve itself. Answer: C. Communicate the issue to the project manager and affected team members or stakeholders. When a team member identifies an issue that could impact the project schedule, their immediate action should be to communicate the issue to the project manager and any affected team members or stakeholders. Timely communication is crucial for effective issue resolution, allowing the project manager to assess the impact, determine potential solutions, and allocate resources to address it before it escalates. For example, if a critical software library is found to have a bug, the developer should immediately inform the project manager so that a workaround or alternative can be planned. Open and prompt communication ensures transparency and facilitates quick problem solving. Question 35. A project manager is preparing for the project closing phase. Which of the following is a key activity performed during this phase? A. Developing the project management plan. B. Acquiring project resources. C. Obtaining final acceptance of deliverables from the customer or sponsor. D. Managing stakeholder engagement. Answer: C. Obtaining final acceptance of deliverables from the customer or sponsor. During the project closing phase, a key activity is obtaining final acceptance of deliverables from the customer or sponsor. This formal acceptance confirms that all project work has been completed to satisfaction and that the project objectives have been met. It's a critical step that validates the successful completion of the project and allows for the formal release of resources. For instance, signing off on the final product ensures the client acknowledges it meets all requirements. Remember, closure is not just about finishing tasks but also about formalizing the completion and transferring the final product, service, or result.